All right, a few days ago, RevGT put out a challenge asking people to try and get a 10 win using a random custom pack, but you're not allowed to look at the contents. Which I have done that before. It's quite a while ago now, probably end of last year. And I recorded a lot of runs. I eventually got the win. I recorded the entire video with commentary, the works. And then I decided that it was just too boring because the build ended up just being, I think it was jellyfish, dragonfly. There was like 3 or 4 scalers or something. And there was nothing to commentate on really. So you can get very lucky, if you get specific pets. But of course, since then, we've had the golden pack come out. And that also means, that you're less likely to get specific things. Chocolate is rarer because there are more items in that tier. And, the same applies to any of the sort of important items. I don't know how many of these runs I actually had melon as an option in the shop, or how many times I got like blobfish pill. Here's one I really liked where I had a sort of hybrid scaling team with the bluebird for attack, double orangutan for health, and sea lion as well. But of course, you run into these people who are just playing nurse shark and highland cow over and over again, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Even in a normal game, you're probably going to lose to them. So here's another one. I kept getting matched with this person over and over. Sometimes it was exactly the same team, but other times it was just, a different highland cow nurse shark team. Yeah, tough to understand why people do that. But here's another one which is tough to understand, which is someone playing 5 pack 1 pets. I guess maybe they're just a free-to-play player, but why would you bother playing this in customs? I don't know, but they destroyed me anyway. And yeah, so I'm skipping over loads and loads of attempts here because there are just too many, and a lot of them just end very, very early. This one is particularly painful because they get tiger from the eagle straight away, followed by walrus. So they get the full team of Pepper and the full team of Peanut, and the gorilla's ability is wasted. Another big problem is octopus. You're constantly getting matched with people who have 1-up octopus or tiger octopus. This one ends up not being too far off, but so many teams just cannot cope against that kind of volume of snipes. I'm showing the start of this one in the shop because I actually had level 3 snail and waffle, and I was actually quite pleased with the way the scaling was going, although it is quite late here and we don't have melon, it's pepper only. And then just to really trigger me, the game matches me with level 3 mosquito, and the level 3 mosquito hits all 3 peppers. I don't know if it would have made any difference or not because they've got 50-50 buffalo with lemon, but I was pretty much ready to lose it there. That was a change that was reverted, or was, it was put back to the old version of mosquito in the current test server, and then they reverted it for no apparent reason, and I was absolutely livid. That previous one's another of the standard roadblock teams where you get matched with leopard, alpaca type teams. And this one, we're actually on 9 wins, and I get matched with the bizarre tiger gorilla. I'm not sure what this person was doing, but I believe this came down to whether or not the Egyptian vulture got the crit on the first hit, and otherwise it would have been a 10 win. But kind of funny to see tiger gorilla regardless. And we're on to attempt 60 now, and they're left with a 50-50 giraffe. This one was really painful as well, where I finally got the double moose going, although I'm only on 5 wins here. And when you get this late with such a few number of wins, you're guaranteed to face these teams. And this person, I recognize their name because every time I see them in the early game, they're playing Bulldog. And that's just to make sure that they can transfer it onto German Shepherd or whatever in the late game. Yeah, I'm not salty. So here I actually showed the beginning of the run because this is the best run I could get. And at the start, I was just doing it very, very quickly, going into randomize the pack. And then, we're just going to skip over a huge amount here because what I decided was on attempt 68, I think this is, I couldn't take it anymore, and I'm just saying, right, I'm taking jellyfish. Because previously, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but jellyfish was in the win that I got last year doing this. And every time I got it up until this point, even if it was in the pack, I just ignored it and tried to do something else. But we're closing in on 70 attempts. I just decided, right, forget it. I'm going to take the jellyfish. And we ended up getting level 3 guinea pig very, very quickly, which helped scale the jellyfish super fast. And I picked up penguin and secretary bird. So we're kind of setting up for a summon team, although, and the jellyfish is just going to be a bit of a carry in the meantime. I get the level up on the stoat. We're going to take the cell now. We actually get another secretary bird. And here I probably should have just combined the secretary birds together, because what's going to happen is the penguin is going to buff the 1/1. And if I combine them, at least the stats don't go to waste. So a little bit of a misplay there. And here I just decide to take the beluga, since it synergizes with the secretary bird, and just put the raccoon in it. Potentially it might be able to steal some equipment. I'm not sure what from, maybe from a bus, but that's probably about it. There was actually something that I haven't actually included it in the highlights here, but playing this over and over again, it did become very obvious that there is someone, and their name is, they've got one of the naughty user names. I think it's something like naughty user 17017, and they are playing tier 1 units only all the time. And it'd be interesting to know if that's like, I wonder if someone has written like a bot to just put these awful tier 1 teams into the pool of custom packs. Of course, you only face them when you're on like really bad a win rate in the early game, but it was happening so consistently, and you can actually see it in other people's videos. If you go and watch some other recent runs in custom packs, if someone has a bad start, you can actually see them getting matched with the 5 tier 1s. So keep an eye out for it yourself. But here I actually made the mistake with buying the splash food, and it hit the beluga, and it swallowed the cow that I wanted. So a bit of a blunder there. And here I take the dragon because the longer you play this, the more you take any scaling option you can as soon as you can. There I actually missed horse in the shop. Here is another one of the teams that I was getting matched with over and over and over again. This exact team with the 4 squad double stork. But thankfully that's not too bad an opponent for a random pack. And there I see the wolf. So now I want to put the wolf inside the beluga. I should have just bought I should have just frozen cheese or something there, because obviously it's better than meat bone. Maybe I'm going to take the garlic, or maybe I'm just going to take the wolf regardless. I think I might actually, I'm going to take the second beluga and leave the wolf so I can use the chocolate. And then we can potentially combine them if we want to. This is a reasonable opponent, and we should be fine against them. Cow versus cow. But two toads this late is kind of a waste of a slot. You really need more summon units in there. So now I think popcorn is also a good get for Secretary Bird, but I'm going to take the level up on the beluga, which also powers up the jellyfish a little bit. And then I think we'll take the buy sell and then end on grizzly. And I think I'll put the grizzly in second last position. We also need to move the beluga back because it has wolf in it now. Another fairly weak looking team. I think you generally just get this sort of plateau where you start running into all the other teams that have not been great in the early game. And here I get Nyala, so that's another potential thing to put inside the beluga. But I think actually I'm just going to buy it and use it as another summon. Although the Secretary Bird can never buff the golden retriever, I don't think. So it's not actually going to help too much, but it does mean, we've got an extra summon in case we then end up pivoting to something else. Like we could have brought Grizzly back in, for instance, and changed the positions around, because I wasn't doing it in this round, but with the Secretary Bird, you can actually sort of time out exactly when the buffs are going to be applied. This team was kind of scary, but thankfully the backline units survived the Grizzly shots, and the level 2 Wolf gets the job done. I think I'm going to put Popcorn on the Nyala. Again, this wasn't me counting out how many actual summons I was on. I was just doing it because it's sort of a general strategy with summon teams. The Dragon is now useless because I'm committing to the Nyala, so I need to find something else there. Another sort of generic team that you're very, very commonly going to face. In fact, I maybe already faced this team earlier in the video, where it's Turtle plus either 4 scaling pets or a gold pet and some scaling pets. And here we just barely miss out on the win there by a couple of trumpets. But we do get another wolf, so that means I can get rid of the dragon and bring the wolf in. I'm probably going to put Garlic on the Secretary Bird just to try and increase its chances of surviving like a Croc Lynx team, of which there are plenty, I can assure you. And we get matched with 50-50 Cobra, so probably a Tamarin person, especially since they've got the monkey. But actually, once the Clownfish is gone, the Cobra's effectiveness is drastically reduced, and we get through to the soft backline units. And thankfully, the Popcorn there doesn't spit out anything too strong. So we can take Popcorn as well, and I think I'm going to put it on the Wolf, or maybe on the Beluga. The Garlic on a 13 attack unit isn't the greatest, but I suppose it's the same thing where, it's a pack where you don't have access to certain things, and so you just have to take whatever defensive options you can. So there, the Garlic, I don't think it actually made a difference, but we were very close to the Jellyfish being outright sniped at the start. And yeah, the buffs from the Secretary Bird, as long as everything survives the initial volley, the buffs from the Secretary Bird are going to create a pretty large wolf. And here I make a mistake again. I take the splash food. So that was a huge blunder on 9 wins. I don't know what I was thinking there, but it was just a reflex, I guess. And now I'm looking for something better. Then I think that it was an ant that the Beluga swallowed. So here I'm thinking about Cricket, because at least that's 2 snipes, 2 summons rather. But instead I'm going to take the Reindeer because it will be a 12-8 when it comes out. At least, and potentially can generate melon if it's going up against something small. And we get matched with a fairly typical team with multiple scalers, huge level 3 Stego. But I think, the Wolf gets built up to a big enough level, and the 2 backline units aren't big enough, and the Dog's going to come in and defeat the level 3 Stegos. So there we go, 68 attempts, and there's the winning team. Now, that wasn't the full story, because I actually won on attempt 14 as well. However, because it was a team, there was double Squirrel, Seal, and Fire Ant. It's almost identical to a video that I put out not long ago. So I just kept going, trying to get a different build. So 2 wins out of 68 attempts. You feel free to calculate the win rate yourself.